2013, June 24th, North Carter Mountain, south to Zeta Pass. We are climbing the Imp Trail to the North Carter Trail. This is the nightmare that we had gone down last August while trying to complete this section of the trail. It was hard terrain up here, with slippery rocks, dangerous stream crossings that were full due to daily thunderstorms. The Imp Trail and the Carter Trail was a 4-mile climb up to the AT over unthinkable amounts of rocks and boulders. The humidity at 100% with the temperatures over 90 degrees made it even worse as we struggled with the climb. It was cloudy and windy like a tropical jungle. I really almost gave up climbing this up to the AT. It is not even part of the Appalachian Trail. We arrived at the AT after 4 long, hard, miserable hours, and once we reached Carter Mountain, some of this section was very nice with the alpine flowers that were blooming up here. There was some limited views up here from Middle Carter, as the haze obscured the views of Mount Washington. We passed a couple of northbound thru-hikers. It had seemed to be early for thru-hikers to be up here already. They must have started in January. The descent down South Carter Mountain was very intense. The boulders and the rocks were slippery and never-ending, and it went down steep. Dave had given some of our water to one of the thru-hikers, and we had to filter some water when we reached Zeta Pass. As we started our descent down from Zeta Pass, all of a sudden we were swarmed by black flies, no-see-me bugs, and mosquitoes. It was horrible. I had forgot how bad these bugs can be in New Hampshire in June. The descent on Carter Dome Trail was just as bad as the descent down the South Carter Mountain, with slippery boulders and lots of rocks, and it felt like we would never reach the bottom. We reached the 19 Brook Trail, and we had started this hike at 7 o'clock this morning. It is now 7 o'clock in the evening, and we were still going down. It has been a long and hard 12-hour hike, and it is the longest hike that we had ever done. I had almost passed out from this hike. We passed a shirtless, happy day hiker who we had passed a couple of times on the trail, and he had also passed us a couple of times. When he had passed us again, he had said that this hike was great and that he had enjoyed every second of this hike. We were dying on this hike, and my feet, back, and knee was in a lot of pain. We had no more energy left and felt exhausted and hungry. I was craving for an extra-large pizza, but felt too tired to even eat one. We reached Route 16, and the shirtless hiker was there and offered us a ride back to our truck. What a nice guy. He had saved us a 30-minute road walk back to our truck that was parked at the Imp Trail. We still have one more section of the AT to hike in the White Mountains, hopefully tomorrow. However, the weather forecast has thunderstorm warning. So far, 2 days in New Hampshire had thunderstorms and heavy rain, both in the afternoon. June 26th, Zeta Pass, south to 19-mile Brook Trail. This will be a whopper day. Today, we will be finishing the White Mountain section of the Appalachian Trail. This will also be the hardest day of the trip. We are starting this hike on the Carter Dome Trail, where we ended our hike yesterday, and it was a hellish, hot, and humid day with no wind. The swarm of black flies was enough to drive us crazy. I had even whacked my mouth with my hiking poles when I was trying to swat them away. The hike was worse than the hike down because we were going up. It was one of the hardest climbs that we had ever done, except for Katahdin Mountain, and the worst attack of black flies that we had ever had. Yes, except for Katahdin Mountain, which I will never forget. We reached the AT and climbed up to Mount Height, which was difficult, with, again, no views due to clouds and hordes of black flies swarming us. Even if it did have a view, we would not be able to enjoy it. We went down, and then over Carter Dome, which had a foundation of an old fire tower that was up here a long time ago. The cement pillars and some broken glass was the only thing left of it now. We started the descent to Carter Notch Hut, which was an extremely steep and rocky climb down, and it had started to rain, making it slippery. At one point during the descent, about 1,000 foot down, we could see the hut below us. It seemed to take us forever to get down to the notch. It was still raining when we reached the hut, and we went inside and had a bowl of bean soup, $3 each. Dave also had a slice of focaccia bread at $1 and a cake muffin at $1. I had some leftover pancakes that was free. I have problems when I eat food made with gluten and will normally never eat it, but I was so hungry that I just gobbled it down with my soup, a very volatile combination. We went back outside, and the rain had stopped. We hiked around the lakes and went back up on the AT, turning west toward the Wildcat Mountain. We had done this section from the south in 2008. We spent the next 4 days, well, it had felt like 4 days, climbing down the flooded, slippery trail back to the parking lot on the 19-mile Brook Trail and our dry camper. June 27th, Route 25A north to Cape Moonshine Road. We started our hike at the Atwell Hill Trailhead. We are heading to Cape Moonshine Road, where we had turned around in November 2010 when we went to Ore Hill Shelter. This little section was hell on our feet. It was also flooded and muddy. There had been no maintenance done on this section this year, as the grass is tall on the trail and the boardwalks over the muddy area has rotted so much that it had now become just part of the mud. The bugs were horrific here, with swarms of mosquitoes. We had on deep woods off, but they seemed to be actually more attracted to it than repelled. I normally use only natural repellent, but I knew the bugs would be bad up here, so I got the deep woods off instead, and it was not working. This was just a nasty section of the trail that we had to connect between our hike to Ore Hill Shelter in 2010 and our Mount Cube hike in 2011. We reached Cape Moonshine Road, a dirt road, and saw that someone had taken a crap near the road. We sat on a log and ate our lunch. A mosquito had bit me, which made me jump up from the log, and I had accidentally dropped my snack bar onto the dirt ground. It was a bad day with the heat and the humidity, and now dropping my snack in the dirt, I have nothing to say except that this section is done.